Well, hey there, guys. Welcome back to the Fisherman Fred channel. I appreciate you stopping by. I picked myself up a new kayak over the weekend. I got this on Black Friday. It's a Pelican Catch Mode 110. Now, this is the TR model, so it has the built-in motor mount on the back, the transom mount. If you want to mount yourself a trolling motor, it has it. I thought I was getting the one with the skeg on it, according to Academy Sports website, but that was not the case, so I've got a motor mount, which that's fine. Surprise, right? Yeah, anyways, I came off what I've been using out here. I bought this one a while back over the summer from a friend locally. He gave me a great buy on it. It's a Lifetime Kanai, and it's not exactly a fishing vessel. There are a lot of kayaks that are kind of similar to this one, but they'll have the rod holders built in that they call fishing kayaks. They work just fine. I fished off of this one, didn't really have any issues with it, and I did install a rod holder as well. But as you can see, there's not much space in here for storage, standing up, anything like that. So that's part of the reason I wanted to get myself more of a fishing kayak. Now, this one here, I got it on a great deal. There were some really, really great coupons that Academy's app had on Thursday on Thanksgiving, and it lets you combine them. So I got a crazy, crazy good price on this kayak, so I couldn't quite pass it up. I was between this and the Perception Outlaw 11.5. Ended up going with this one though because it was in stock. I like the color on it, and it's a little bit shorter, so it's a little bit easier for me to transport in my vehicle currently. So, but yeah, I wanted to give you guys just kind of a quick rundown of how it looks. So you do have on the front and then on both sides, you have these built-in handles which are connected via rivets. So they have two pretty sturdy feeling rivets in there. I just tied this strap on. I need to get myself a better stand assist strap. Or I need to fashion something that's a little bit better. But I just tied this on just to have, something. I had that on my old Lifetime Kanai. So I put that on. That is about, I want to say this runs about, I think it was around 30 inches or so when I measured it. It's not quite long enough, so I need to go. Ideally for me, I would want this to probably touch kind of midway through the step pad right there to give yourself enough length to reach that and comfortably stand. But yeah, that's something I'll need to address. But anyways, it's got the handles on there up front. It's got this little bungee storage net. You can stick your paddle handle underneath that if you want. There's also, if you wanted to put some gear under there or something, you've got that. Now this doesn't have any built-in like hatches of any sort, so that's not something they include on this from the factory. Moving on back. And these are basically, they call these rod tip protectors. So say if you're storing a rod along this inside channel or using this built-in little bungee cord, and that's supposed to kind of cover your rod tips. Most of my rods are 7 feet, 7'3", so they're going to extend past that a little bit, but they are there. You've got some adjustable foot pedals on it. I found for me, I'm about 5'10", 5'11", so most comfortable for me was having that in some of the last few notches right there. I tried them a few back, and it worked okay, but actually paddling, I preferred them to be a little bit further out so my legs could lay flatter. Now in here, they've got this nice little rubberized pad, and they say that's to kind of deaden noise, so if you're stepping around in here, the fish won't hear it as much, and it just gives you a little bit of traction as well. I did try, now it's very cold out, so I took this out over the weekend and tried it a little bit. The pond I went to is pretty shallow, so I didn't want to go crazy since the water's, like in the high 30s, 40 degrees. Definitely not something you'd want to fall into right now. But I did take it out a little bit and tried it. Perfectly comfortable, rowing around in this. I did try, I'll show you guys this more, but there's an elevated seat position. I did try that for a bit. And I did try to stand in it briefly as well. So and that went just fine. First time I've ever tried to stand in one. But back to the gear on this. So they've got the foot pedals, the pad down there. They also, from the factory, they come with 2 of these gear tracks, which I'm going to probably add. I actually ordered a paddle holder that clips into that from Yak Attack. And on this side, eventually, I'd like to get a Scotty universal mount with the transducer arm and put myself a fish finder on that. That's kind of what I think I'm going to use on that right-hand side. They do have 3 built-in rod holders. One here on the front that's forward-facing. You've got one on each side behind the seat that are rear-facing. You can also, there's enough space in here if you want to lay your reel right in here and then run the rod along the length of that. And that's kind of where those rod tip protectors would come into play. They'll go right underneath that. If it's a short one, it'd probably be right in there. Mine are all going to extend past it though. Now, on to probably one of the biggest things about this kayak is the seat. So a lot of people really like this seat. They call it the Ergo Boost seat that Pelican uses. So in its default position,
Here's what I found.
Oh, Siri's listening to me. Hang on. She's searching. That was my watch. So in its default position, this thing has about 3 inches, I would say, of rise off of the Kayak. And then you can fold this seat down and you actually can sit in an elevated position, which is pretty nice. Now, when I went out, again, I was being very cautious because it's very cold out, and I was sticking to some very, very shallow waters for the most part around the bank. I did flip that down, and when you first do it, it feels a little tippy at first, but once you paddle yourself around in it, you see that it's really not tippy. You would probably have to use a bit more caution just because your center of gravity is going to be up a little bit and more prone to falling off than seated down, but I didn't feel any issues with it. It felt perfectly comfortable to me. But you can flip that back up. This seat has some storage back here as well. So if you wanted to get like a small Plano tackle box or something like that, you could store it in here, and they have bungees on either side. Now, as for standing, I did try it. This is the first time I've ever stood on a kayak, and like I mentioned, it's very cold out. So what I did, I got over near the launch point where I put the kayak in. There's about 6 inches to a foot of water. You can see the dirt underneath you. And I basically paddled myself back to that after I kind of got comfortable with it. And I tried standing. It went fine. My little strap that I had here is definitely not long enough. And that was a little bit hard to get to. But once I get a better one and lengthen that up, like I mentioned, I'll probably want it to go at least halfway through the foot padding there. Actually, standing up on it, it didn't feel bad, guys. Now, again, I was just in a foot of water. I was being careful since it was cold. I really didn't want to fall in, especially, out in deeps or anything right now. So I'm not going to try that until it's in the hot months of the summer. But, standing on it, it felt absolutely fine, guys. Now, I'm not confident enough to start casting or anything like that yet. I've never stood on a kayak, so it's new to me. So before I do any of that, I'm going to definitely get practice on it in the hot months of the year. But so far, so good. As for stability, when you're in the water in the lower seat position, it feels great. It does have a bit of side-to-side play in it. Now, you'll see, though, that play, it's very, very stable. I did try to rock it just a bit. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit to see how it felt. And I had no issues at all. I didn't feel, unsecure or unstable or anything like that. So it felt perfectly fine on there. This one here, let me get you the stats on it. So with this kayak, this is off of Pelican's website, and it's not going to focus too well. So they're saying that this weighs about 67 pounds. I loaded it by myself, no problems. The width on it is 34.5 inches, and then this is 128 inches in length. So you're just about 10 feet, 8 inches on this one. Now, I'm probably going to get myself a few rod leashes and some tie downs, but I was just checking this out. My catch board, if any of you guys do any tournament fishing, this thing's dirty, I need to wash it. If you do any tournament online tourneys at all, you probably have a catch board. It slides under here perfectly. The only thing that I noticed when I was trying to pull myself out with this really, really small assist strap that I made, when I went to sit back down a few times, I felt like I was about to sit on this. So just kind of watch that. And that was more just because my strap's not long enough and not being familiar. But once I got it figured out, no issues at all. Catchboard slides right underneath there. I think what I'm going to do is get some type of a leash or a tie put through there so that it's long enough that I can pull it out when I need to measure a fish and set it right around there. And then just basically reinsert it underneath my seat. All right, if you're familiar with those, you know that they don't float, so you don't want to drop those in. Now, if we move on to the back, here in the back, I've got my net sitting there right now, but you've got some more storage space that's fairly deep back there. And they also have the scupper holes. There's one there, one underneath the seat, which you probably can't see here. Then they've got 2 additional ones up front. Pelican does include 4 of these nice foam scupper plugs. So if you wanted to cap these off, they're included, and they fit in there really nicely, very, very snug. I left mine out, but I'll experiment with that a little bit as I get more familiar with it. So, and then as I mentioned on the back, mine does have the transom mount on here. So if you want to do a small electric motor, it's pretty much good to go. You just have to get it attached on there, run your wiring however you want, and get yourself some sort of a power, battery of some sort. But that is ready to rock. Oh, and then I might have mentioned this, but both sides, they're going to have these little straps. So that's for paddle or for rods. I've got my paddle attachment on order. I'm going to put it in the gear track soon, so I'm not going to have to worry too much about those, but they are there if you want them. Yeah, outside of that, that's just a pretty quick rundown of this kayak. Hope that helps you guys out. Big thing on this. If you look online, one of the most numerous complaints is about the side-to-side movement on the seat. All you have to do, I bought these little cherry leg tips. They're 3 1/4 inch. Got them from Menards for $1.99 for 4. Put those on all 4 sides. And that pretty much all but eliminates any side-to-side play in that seat. So that's probably the most common complaint on the Pelican Catch Mode 110 is the side-to-side seat movement. So that fixes it up real nice. But yeah, that's it, guys. So I'm going to try to deck this out with some accessories. It's getting pretty cold out, so I don't know how much I'll actually be able to get on it before spring. But hopefully some new videos will be coming. The bass have not been biting at all the last 2.5 weeks. So I haven't had much content to post, guys. They're just not biting. But yeah, there it is, guys. So massive update or upgrade from the Lifetime Kenai. So if you're using one of those, you're thinking about something wider. Like I said, I've only had it out twice, and I can already tell it's a game changer. It's way different. So take care, guys. God bless you. Thanks for stopping by.